Hello and welcome to today's content of Yuna, since she has also come along with the Final Fantasy X collaboration event, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who want to know just how good she is or want to be told how good she is, because a lot of people were saving for her in terms of meta specifically. So I will talk mostly about her PvP aspects and her unit as a whole, and yeah, so without further ado, here we go. So here we go for Yuna's main job is going to be the Summoner of Spira. So key takeaway abilities is that she's going to have Kiraga, and I put the cast times there to signify that there are cast times. Additional to that, the base unit also gets Holy, which is going to be very good. As we all know, if you played the game before, Holy is 100% hit and does very good damage. It does cost a good amount of AP, but it does have cast time as well, but it is very effective against evasion units. The EX upgrade, once Yuna gets her EX version, she gets enhanced Holies. And what this does is that it adds on to the Dark Killer, in addition to the Reaper Killer. Reaper Killer is not Dark. But now when she uses Holy onto Dark units, she gains an additional 25% modifier. So it's going to be very nice to have. Adding on to that, the base unit also gets Re-Raise, which is very good because it's like the zombie TMR from Halloween Ryu's TMR. It just gives the Re-Raise effect to a unit. So this is very effective in how it can change up how a team works. That if one is used as a sacrifice, the Re-Raise can literally bring them back, and then you could basically have a second chance. It's like a second win. From here, the EX upgrades. When she is fully maxed out, when she has that job level 25, she gets access to full life. This is the same full life that Halloween Leela has, Ayaka has. She basically has access to it on her main job. Lastly is going to be Energy Ray, which is going to be her limit break. So not only is this her longest, her farthest reaching ability, but it's also an instant cast. There is no cast time, and it's 100% hit. It is very important to note that there is no cast time specifically on this, so she can use it at a win. It does not matter for her on turn order. So here we are for Yuna's sub-job takeaways. The Kododama sub-job is going to have, the most important in my opinion will be nimble movement and bursting light. The other two are going to be decent abilities for in terms of AP cost or like instant cast, such as Earth Rendering Pain, but bursting light is going to be her only other viable option for AoE damage. Nimble movement will definitely give her basically the utility and mobility to get her attacks out much more consistently and faster. But Bursting Light is going to be her primarily usage of the Kododama subjob. From here we have the Green Mage. It has Imperil, De-Protect, and De-Shell. Imperil and all the other two options I listed are going to be very relevant for raids and PvE. So it's not that she can only be used for PvP or she has no other utility based on what I said on her main job. Green Mage subjob definitely opens up to her basically her supportive utility effect, even more. Her main job, subjob, the Summoner of Spira, she's going to get Raise and Curata. And while it's not like, oh wow, she doesn't get much, she just gets more supportive healing, that is literally what it is. You get more supportive healing, which is going to be very useful if you want to use Yuna primarily as a healer. Here we are for Yuna's resistances and her passives. So as you can see here, kind of like most mages, they have most of their physical or other non-magic attack related resistances are going to be negative. Primarily going to be Missile at negative 10% and Dark at negative 10. Slash, Pierce, and Strike will be at negative 5%, which are not too bad. And then she has the 15% magic resistance by itself. I did not list it here, but for herself, I have it in her master ability, but she does get her 10% AoE resistance for herself, which is going to be important as I explain later on. So resistances to statuses. She has 50% resistance to Charm and Silence. Silence being very, very, very important because she has a lot of cast times. If she's silenced, somehow got silenced, I mean she has 50%, so it's going to be insanely hard without an LB tier of status ailment proc chance. She can't cast anything and then she's useless. 10% Toad for her other resistances to statuses, and then her master ability, we move on to all element types, get their mono. She gets the light. And from here, herself, she gets the AoE resistance 10%. This is very effective and strong because I'll be explaining what combos that she can use to basically make herself very difficult to kill in one go. So here we move on to her passives. We have the Mooncrest. Savior's Protection and Dark Spirit's Blessing. Those are my recommended. The reason why Mooncrest is so important is that it has the unique property of healing power. And because healing power can be increased, she not only can heal other units much more easily, even if they don't have a high amount of faith, she can still like heal bonkers amount as long as you are stacking up your healing power pretty much. Savior's Protection will be mostly used for the magic resistance just in case, and Dark Spirit's Blessing will help her mitigate some damage against dark units. If she's not mitigating correctly against dark units, she can still die in one hit, but this definitely is a starting point for her. For her niche and flex passives, I had to put the Oath to the Faith. While it does decrease the activation time for all her cast time abilities, will it make enough of a difference compared to the other passives? And if she only uses her LB or re-raise and she got nothing else out, did you really get the full benefits out of the activation time? I specifically put it in niche and flex for this reason. Like, it definitely could be very effective, but the overall spectrum of how effective it could be, it can definitely vary to how good it is. Additionally to that, Emerald Echo can definitely help you in terms of like the debuffs from Green Mage. And the magic up is, if you want to really go full damage with her, you can go Mooncrest for 24% and then magic up for 30%. But like I said, I feel like the other benefits there are very, very effective in what they can do as well compared to the niche and flex ones. And now we move on to the reaction abilities. Yevon's gift is that when she gets damaged by 30%, she increases her healing power to 30 for 3 turns for herself. However, and this is important to note, on her EX upgrade, Yevon's gift turns into Aeon Bond. And what Aeon's Bond does is that after it increases her healing power, she also heals herself. And it's like, basically every time she gets hit, she has a chance to heal herself. And with the healing power up, it's possible for her to almost heal herself to full every time if you do not have a strong enough damage or you don't have healing power down. This is very important to think about. Outside of that, she has Dispel counter from Green Mage and then the Steeled Ephemeral Form from Kododama Subjob, which can reduce damage. In my honest opinion, I would only use Aeon Bond because not only does it increase her healing power, but if she does not get one shot and it procs, she will heal herself, like to full almost. So it's very, very strong. And here we are for the people who just wanted the rating for Yuna. I did not give these ratings lightly. I actually did like a lot of research on it and the future abilities of her, but this is what it came out to be. So for her EX and release, I gave her 10 out of 10 because not only does she have access to healing power, 100% hit abilities, a re-raise and a full raise. I mean, not re-raise. Yeah, re-raise and a full raise. That's all basically on her main job. She does not need a sub job to help her do any of those. Her kit is insanely versatile in what she can do. Because she's also light type, she can open up to the mono light team that has a tank that's already warrior light, or I guess if you want to go like off meta, you could use like Ramza, Elsorel with like Vow Love or Thancred, stuff like that. She does have the stronger defensive light teams there for her mono benefits. She's also able to make use of the Bahamut Vision card bonus, and since she is one of the first EX units, she's extremely potent and it feels like she is like unkillable. While it's not true that she's unkillable, it just feels like it because she is one of the first to have EX and have the Bahamut Vision card. She's also 10 out of 10 because she can flex into damage, healing, or support, or even all three at the same time as I mentioned earlier. She has the option to do it. Depending on what ability toggles you turn off and on, she can do what you want. She could do basically anything you want except for tanking herself. I mean, technically you can make a full tank build with her and just go off with her passives, her reaction ability and just keep healing forever, but she doesn't hold hate. She has access to a large AoE 100% limit break, which is insanely good. If there's any evasion comps that are clumped up, or if she gets the range advantage on them, which she kind of will because she has 5 range on her limit break, and that's pretty far. So yeah, it's something to think about. With the Kododama subjob, as I mentioned earlier as well, she has another AoE large hit ability. So she's not locked to only her LB for AoE, she does have other options due to her Kododama subjob. For the future and longevity of the game, why I say Yuna is 10 out of 10 is that her initial kit will always be relevant. What I mean by that is that healing and healing power are never going away from the game. Those are always important to have, especially if you have units that survive hits. Another thing is 100% hit abilities. Because she has access to 100% hit, that means evasion team comps will always have to respect if Yuna is there, regardless or not, because it's part of her main kit. Holy, Enhanced Holy, and her LB are all 100%. You have to respect that as an evasion unit. Whether or not she uses heals or her 100% hit abilities or not, she does have re-raise that she can always cast to buff her teammates, and she has the full raise, which makes her also viable as a healer forever, pretty much. So she's very, very cost effective in my opinion. While she is 10 out of 10, however, she does lack barriers, but as I said earlier, she does have heals, re-raise, and a full raise, so she's still able to support her team properly. She also does have cast times on many abilities, but because her limit break does not specifically, basically cast time does not make her useless. It's something there that kind of quote unquote you could say balances her, or like makes sense for her stronger abilities. Because she has mostly single target attacks, however, outside of her limit break and the Kododama subjob, Enhanced Holy and most in her other attacks or Sonic Wing are all single target. However, like I said, her limit break and Kododama give her options for more AoE, so that is a problem that she can fix herself due to tweaks. She does, however, not have any multi-hit abilities or any barrier breaks, so anyone with magic barriers or if you need to chain hit something, she will not be able to help as much compared to other units. Another thing to think about is that she has no spirit or magic attack resistance penetration or debuffs. She has to have items or a TMR to change that up for her. Because she has also Green Mage subjob for Imperil and stuff, she can also be used in almost all PvE situations regardless of circumstance. One thing to say, I put her as 10 out of 10, and you're probably reading the, oh, no spirit and magic attack resistance, pen or debuff. Why is she still 10 out of 10? It's because she's not only damage. And I say that because, like I said earlier, she can be a healer and a support. She doesn't have to be your main damage dealer. So she still has 2/3 out of her kit that can still be usable, that cannot be mitigated. So it's she still has insanely good usage compared to other units. And lastly, we talk about her TMR. This is actually the Japanese version of it. I should have definitely recorded the English name, but yeah, the English name is actually just called Yuna's Clothing, which is kind of funny, but yeah, basically it's an armor. It gives 358 HP, which is not a lot, unfortunately. The 10 defense is very nice, actually. It's not bad for a TMR. And the critical avoid is 12, which is it's so-so. Critical avoid's not too relevant. But mostly the reason why I give it a 9 out of 10 is because of the active on the TMR. So what it does is that in a small AoE, as you can see in the range there, it is a small plus sign. It does a Curaga, and it grants protect and shell for your allies that got healed as well. This is insanely good because it can potentially change AIs of other units that maybe they don't have a heal or something, but you just want maybe one extra chance. Maybe even putting on Sakura or something, and then she can heal with that. It is something that is relevant in all stages of the game. PvP, if you survive and you heal and you put a protect and shell, you're definitely possibly surviving the next few hits. PvE, same thing, similar situation. Maybe you don't have enough units for heals, or you're running out of usages, ability usages in tower. This counts as something that is viable, that can be refreshed as well in tower. So it's definitely something to think about. I would give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's very effective. However, the reason why I wouldn't give it a higher rating is that the armor stats itself, like the HP, is not high enough. It doesn't give enough, and the range of the ability itself, it has to be right next to her teammates, which is also a problem. So here is something that a lot of people might be wondering if you don't have Yuna or you want to fight against Yuna. Either way, here we go for the Yuna compositions. If you're fighting as Yuna, because her main job has all the abilities I said earlier, she doesn't fail to be useful in any situation. It's literally impossible for her to be useless. She can always be useful. She could be a +1 to your team comp. It does not matter. She does not have to fit in a mono light either. She still has full usage as a unit. Since Yuna has also a lot of cast abilities, you have to be wary that it can be cancelled by jammer thrust or silences. Because she has the 50% silent resistance, however, it is hard to silence her, basically. I don't think there's anything above a base 50% chance to silence in the game currently. So you don't have to worry too much about that. You would have to worry more about jammer thrust. Because Yuna can do literally everything except for tank, You should try to build a frontline for Yuna so she can do her job and her casting her abilities and such from a safer distance. You don't want her to be your frontline or your tank. As I said, Yuna is by no means tanky, but if she does survive with her healing reaction ability, she can consistently stay alive and keep her team topped off. Don't be afraid to fight evasion compositions. There's almost no evasion unit that can really survive her limit break or EX holy damage. Arguably in the future, I would say evasion units like 2B could potentially survive, but we do not have 2B in the game currently for global. And anyone else that is currently relevant for evasion, the only person I could think of that could survive would potentially be Laswell, and that's only on the condition he has Mirage on him at the same time. When you're fighting against Yuna, her main weakness is going to be weak to ranged attacks, so having high damage missile types can do good damage on her, but you have to keep in mind that even if you do a lot of damage to her, if her healing is not interrupted or reduced, she can just basically heal it back up and you're back to like square one, and you're down like how many ever AP you use for that attack. It's something to consider. You cannot go basically half-assed into Yuna when you're attacking her. So while dark units can deal significant and lethal damage to Yuna, you have to also wonder that she can also do the same in her attacks unless you have a tank, light resistance, or magic resistance. So it's something to think about. You should be wary of the durability of unit teams because her healing prowess is not a small joke, and even with healing power reduced, if she's not the one directly healing power reduced, she can still do significant healing to her teammates. If you do, however, have enough damage on your team to make sure that Yuna is only healing instead of DPS, that is one way to kind of trick her AI into thinking that, oh, she can only heal now and she won't be doing damage, and you're mitigating damage itself by doing enough damage. So for here as Yuna, obviously Bahamut Esper is the best period for all magic casters, and I'll explain in a different video on the Bahamut card and the Esper itself because I feel like it's a little bit special due to it being double cost. The Bahamut Vision card would also be the best for her in general, or anyone in a light mono team comp that can use magic. And as you can see from her basic units that can be used with her, a frontline would be Warrior Light, Cecil, and Agris. Even Elsrel works very well. Sakura could definitely make a very good combo with her as well. So it's like there's a lot of units can go for, but these are the specific light units that you could use that have potentially good usage. Obviously Agris is not light, but she is a tank and she can do the frontline job just fine. If you're fighting against Yuna, you definitely want to bring in magic resist. Aigayan has the magic resistance on the Esper, Fenrir itself has magic resistance on the Vision card, and Smart Robe has the highest spirit and magic resistance on the armor currently for cloth users. So it's going to be very nice to have, especially against Yuna. If you just have basically to counter Yuna or you're fighting against her, you need a magic tank. That's why I specifically put Winter Venera here, and as well as Rain. Even Dwayne can stack up his magic resistance to a decent amount, so those are all possible options. For damage, Niv Lu still does a lot of good damage because of Spider Rain existing. It defense downs and she does good missile damage. Ruin Stern is probably one of the strongest units to kill Yuna in one hit outside of Stern EX. I'll also be making a video about Stern EX potentially because of how much damage he can possibly do, but he doesn't survive too many hits. But these are the units that you would primarily see against Yuna if you want a good fighting chance to kill her. And with that, we arrived to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and the next upcoming videos, I have the beginner guide coming up. I should try to get that out even faster because a lot of players are going to be joining the game. And I believe I should also try to do a video on Bahamut so that people who are not polling or they feel like the game ended for them because they can't poll it, I'll try to explain different circumstances for that. But yeah, for now, if you liked the unit review that I did, like and subscribe, and until the next video, peace out.